Hey everybody, TMAT Rythbryt here, and today on TMAT Drafts, we tackle the top 30 models for the forces of good, leaders, magic casters, and supports. Did your favorite model make the cut, or did his stock plummet on draft day? Plus, can you ever have too much magic in a list, and just how much cheese can you cram into 800 points? Those answers and more coming up next. Before we jump into the draft, here's a quick rules recap. 5 players get 6 picks each in a 3-round snake draft. The rule of 1 is in effect. No more than 2 leader models can be chosen by each player, and players who stay under 800 points receive special list building bonuses. For more on the rules, check out the video tagged on your screen. So this is take 2. Like an idiot, I forgot to press record when we started the draft. So we're going to kick off the draft now, and I thought we'd go around, just take a minute or two to explain who we are and maybe a little bit about what your approach is going to be to this draft in broad strokes. Or you can be as specific as you like, I suppose. I think MinutemanKirk, you have the first pick.
Yes, unfortunately in some eyes, or fortunately in others. But in either case, you do have to hear me ramble first. My name is Kirk. I've been playing this game since about 2003. My very first game involved I think it was 2,500 points, and it came down to Sauron and like 10 Warriors of Gondor, and got 10 Warriors won. That had me hooked from then on. There's a post somewhere on Easterlings and Army Tiers if you so desire to learn more about my history. My greatest accomplishment so far was getting to play in the 2019 Nova Open, which, as it turns out, was fortunate since 2020 was canceled. Beyond that, I am approaching this from the idea of the best support first, so that will be my first pick. For all you draft watchers, you can get an idea of what your next choice will be therein. And with that, I will cease my rambling and turn it over to round 2.
So second player is me on TMAT Tiberius. I have wrote many posts on our blog on magic and throwing weapons, and I think they are great. I have an hidden affinity for wizards in white, and if I don't get to pick a few of those in this draft, I will be very sad. That's my philosophy towards it all. Everything else is gravy, but let's get some use out of those wizards in white.
All right, I'm Centaur. I was first brought into the hobby because TMAT Tiberius was looking online and said, hey, I found these really cool miniatures in this really cool game. I think we should try it. And so I started out with a box of Warriors of Rohan and a box of Royal Guards. I actually didn't have a hero when we first started tinkering around with the rules. And that's basically where this came from. So I've always had a strong affinity for the Straw Heads. I'm also the resident Shire player here within our group. Tend to play Isengard quite a bit, Azog's Hunters and the like. So obviously some of my affinities, like Azog's Hunters, they don't really have support anything. So that won't be making an appearance. But the number one thing people on the blog will know is that I like banner rules. Banners are the most important thing, in my opinion, when it comes to support. They give you a good chance of surviving when you otherwise wouldn't, especially since I tend to play low fight value armies. So you can expect me to be taking a lot of banners tonight.
I think I have number 4 in this one. I'm Rythbryt. I have done. I am a sort of, I guess, the power creep, the power gamer person. So I have draft boards and charts and fun things. And as a result, I have no idea what I'm doing tonight. I have way too much information, way too many choices. So we'll see how it goes, but it should be fun.
You want Braga. First pick, you want Braga.
I actually have Braga ranked. I have a ranking for him.
Really?
I'm hoping I don't have to pick him. He's not great on the rankings, but I do. Again, completionist.
I'm going to call it now. Bill the Pony, number 1 draft pick for Rythbryt. I'm just going to call it now. We'll see what happens.
All right, I think so. RedJacket, you got the 5th and 6th. Then is that right?
Yes. I bring up the rear in the snake draft, which I am happy about. My introduction to the gaming world was actually with Catan, so I'm very familiar with the snake draft route, and it's only gone, deeper into the nerdiness from there. I started playing fairly recently because of these guys. They've roped me in. Honestly, this draft has been an exercise in learning about all the other civilizations that I have not paid any attention to, because I am an elf player through and through. I have armies for all the elf civilizations, and my first love was Rivendell. So if I don't get a fairly Rivendell centric army, I have backup plans. But if I don't have a Rivendell-centric list, I'm going to be a little bummed as well. But I definitely have backup plans.
First, got it.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so I don't really know what I'm doing here. I tend to play a bit more themed than truly than truly metagamer. But I'm going to have fun, and it's going to be interesting.
Good. Well, that was part of the hope of bringing different people together. We get some different perspectives, and it'll be fun to see sort of how we go. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to transition to the draft, and then we'll kick off with MinutemanKirk and the first pick. All right, welcome back. We're ready to get underway. This is the TMAT live draft Forces of Good, round 1. I'm going to turn it over to Tiberius, who's going to run the draft board for us.
Okay, so here we are with the draft board. We've got all of the picks available. It's going to be kind of neat and exciting. We're, of course, doing the Forces of Good, and as you can tell, we have MinutemanKirk here up on the docket. Kirk, if you are ready to go, then I will start your time, sir.
Surely. Well, unfortunately, for a RedJacket, the goal, as I previously stated, was the best support, and that means I'll be taking Círdan. I think it should be fairly self-explanatory why. My main civilizations that I run are actually not elves, but the fact that he's been nerfed so hard, the fact that Rivendell is literally convenient or historical with everyone means it's very flexible as long as you have a Hero of Valor, of course. Or you could start with Rivendell and then bring someone else in as your ally. You get all the buffs, you get a lot of the benefits of having Círdan. So I don't think I need to belabor that point as to why I think Círdan is the best true support for good.
I agree with you 800%. In case that was not clear from any of the other things that we've done, I agree with you 800%.
Well, and he doesn't usually wear a white robe, so I don't think I step on anybody's toes taking that pick, aside from perhaps shortening the list.
I painted him in white, but whatever. I'm an affinity for white robe characters. They're very hard to paint well, so.
Yes.
Okay.
That is true.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so my pick is number 2. I will get the time started. I think it's a little unnecessary. I have gone over in I don't know how many posts on the blog recently and extolled the great benefits and wonders that is Gandalf the White. Gandalf the White provides you with so many amazing buffs. I've been playing with Saruman a lot recently too. And there's neat things you can do with Sorcerous Blast to neutralize enemy heroes, even if they're not the targets of the Sorcerous Blast. You've, of course, got Fortify Spirit you can cast on yourself and others to protect them from magic. You got Blinding Light to protect from archery if your opponent cares about that kind of thing. You've got Terrifying Aura to make it harder to hit you. There's such a wealth of things that he has. Probably the biggest thing, though, in the context of the people we're going to see in this list is that a lot of people in this list depend on being banners or casting magic, and Gandalf can shut down both of those by either putting you on the ground or mobilizing you and stopping you from doing anything. So I think if you're going to build anything around a list, Gandalf the White's a great player to have. Just a neat character to be using on the board.
I'm taking Galadriel, Lady of Light, from the Lorien list.
Is that Galadriel, the Lothlorien version? Or
Yes.
Lady of Light from the White Council?
Galadriel from the Lothlorien list, that one. The one that can take the mirror. Because yes, she gets the free will point, just like all of the really good casters. She's got a really good replenishment rate, and of course she's got the blinding light, which I think is just an absolutely necessary thing for almost any list. You'd be very hard pressed to not have a reason to take her. And then the ability to be able to get stuff back via the pool, via the pool is just incredible. So.
I had Galadriel number 2 on my board. So that hurts. That's a great pick. It does an awful lot for you. And of course, you can bring lots of elves, and it's never a bad thing to have a hero who can bring elves.
Okay, all right. So, Rythbryt, it is your pick.
Okay, well, I'm going to deviate a tiny bit, but not really. This is true to form. So if you listen to the pod, you know that I really value ring bearers. So the obvious pick for me is Isildur. He's number 1 on the list. He's going to have the ring unless somebody happens to take Sauron, which I think probably unlikely in this format. We will see. But absent Sauron, we have the ring. He also happens to be good in combat. He also happens to be dirt cheap. He also happens to bring along Numenorians. So, I had Galadriel very, very high. I would think about her if she was still on the board. And at some point, I'll need to do something about magic. But for now, I think Isildur is resistant to magic.
To Numenorians,
right?
Including
Yeah.
himself.
So Isildur is the pick for me, and I'm very happy about that.
All right. RedJacket, you're up, sir.
Yes, well, true to form, you all were very kind, and despite the stealing of Círdan, who obviously would have been very high on my list, I can conveniently, as my first pick, take Elrond, and then as my second pick, take Lindir. I feel like that's pretty straightforward. Elrond is a centerpiece hero, but I feel like two of his greatest strengths are the fact that he can A, cast, and B, the foresight points. If there's one supporting characteristic that I feel like is absolutely essential, it's the ability to retake priority. Like, I think I spend my might points for my heroes on heroic moves more than literally anything else, because priority is so key to the game. So I think Elrond is a huge choice, not only as a combat warrior and a centerpiece, but also just as a support character. And Lindir just makes him better. Not to mention the fact that Lindir grants resistance to magic to all Rivendell models within 6 inches. So
I am a little shocked you didn't take Gil-galad too. I am a little shocked.
He was high up there. Gil-galad was going if Elrond wasn't around. But I feel like, honestly, Gil-galad is more fragile than Elrond. Rerollable fate, 3
of
fate.
them, 3 rerollable fate instead of 1 not rerollable fate. Yeah, fair.
Yeah,
and Wrath of Brunnen.
Yeah.
It's really great for an elven army when you need help making kills.
Yeah, no, Elrond is a much more well-rounded profile. I mean, the fight 6 is sort of hard to fight 6 on your warriors is great. Elrond is great. I am a tiny bit surprised that Lindir is going this early. But, he does a lot for the army if you've got Elrond in it. So, and that's great. So,
I mean, plus he grants resistance to magic too.
Right.
Yeah,
So.
it's resistant to magic with a 6-inch radius, and with Elrond, you can if you're lucky, you can cast Wrath of Brunnen twice. Usually you've got it once pretty much guaranteed, and then 50-50 for the second cast. With Lindir, you're looking at a good maybe 3 solid casts of Wrath of Brunnen. and that's huge. Like,
Well, and
that
if you
is
got
really
nothing
huge.
better to do and you have priority, might as well give it a try, right, on a free dice, even after you're out of wills. So
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. All right. Pick number 7 here. We have you, Rythbryt. As a reminder, you have Isildur at the moment and at least 120 points spent.
I do. I'm torn. I'm very
No.
It's the first
I
round.
have-
There's too many choices.
I have somebody on the board that I was like, if he's still around at 7, I'm totally taking him, and he is, and I'm kind of shocked. I'm gonna take Aragorn.
Oh,
He's here at 7, and I'm shocked. I am taking the Strider from the Return of the King Legendary Legion version of Aragorn, because you got 6-inch banner plus access to dead guys.
no. You
plus
don't have a
free.
6-inch banner. You have a 6-inch spirit banner.
Yeah.
As opposed to the 6-inch actual banner, which you get from the king.
No, the king is great. The king is also 80 points more.
And worth every
And he's
for
great,
more on
but,
this
you know,
date.
I got Isildur already. I'm a tiny bit tight on points. Plus, this will allow me, for thematic reasons, to do Aragorn leading the Warriors of the Dead, plus the Shade of Isildur leading Dead Númenóreans, and it'll be consistent-ish lore-wise. We'll shoehorn it that way. It's like a Lost Tale thing. The Shade of Isildur
Okay.
floating around the Gladden Field somewhere.
For more on the difference between the legendary Legion Aragorn from the Return of the King and the Dead of Dunharrow, read our post on the Dead of Dunharrow and the list building blog where we go through it all. So there you go. All right. Well, congratulations.
There's
Excellent pick.
Tiberius's. I'm doing the drinking game thing. There's his,
Yeah, here we go. All right.
reference.
Well, there's a drinking game.
Hey, Kirk already mentioned something on the blog. It's all fair game. It's not just me. Besides, it's branding. All right. Number 8, Centaur. We are at you.
So this is an easy pick for me, and again, it goes back to what I was talking about earlier in terms of what I value. I'm choosing Halbarad with the banner of the Arwen Evenstar. I mean, it's a 6-inch banner, which is just insanely good on a high fight value army. Of course, it can apply to anybody who's allied within range, and it makes them fearless. So if you're running up against a high terror bubble, I mean, this guy's just crazy. Not to mention, you know, if you really, really need to, if the board is not going your way and suddenly people start trying to run and having to take courage tests for morale, Halbarad and his boys are going to stay. Whoever it is that's near him, they're going to be there no matter what. Even if he gets tagged and doesn't get to call stand fast, they're going to stay. So I love him. I love the fact that here in the newer edition, Halbarad also doesn't get a penalty while using the banner. That didn't always used to be the case. And so I think with that, especially with a points reduction too in his cost, there's just no way around it. He's the definite choice.
Very good. Yeah, Halbarad is wonderful. He's
That
really
banner is, it may be, I know Boromir's got a case with his banner, and Gambling, of course, always has a case with his banner, but a 6-inch banner with Fearless is really, really good. Like, you won't always need the Fearless, but when you need it, and it's always good to have it. And it's all friendly models, right? Like,
It is. Yep. It is not specific like some of the other benefits. Yeah.
Well, and that's why it dramatically outweighs something like Gambling. As much as I love Gambling, like Gambling's banner is only 3 inches, and the points you're paying for it only help Rohan models or Rohan heroes. So
Yeah.
It's a good choice. Solid. Now I have a very difficult decision to make, so let me start the timer so I don't wax too long without it. I have come down very hard on the blog about why Gandalf the White is a better character than Boromir, Knight of the White Tower. And actually, MinutemanKirk and I have had a very interesting discussion about who is probably the better choice given all things. And I am sorely tempted just to heal the breach, to pick Boromir, Knight of the White Tower with the banner, just so that I can say I have both. Because if you want a mega meta Minas Tirith army, you want those two guys, or you want Gandalf with the king, right? But there's another white wizard on this list. And if there's one thing that you don't want, it's 2 Sorcerous Blast cast on a 4-up. So I'm going to completely destroy the lore here. And I'm going to take Saruman the White to back up Gandalf, because the one thing that is absolutely great about these two guys is you can have them crisscrossing across the field and making sure that your opponent's best heroes are not mounted and they are on the ground or they're moving away, and they can do most of that with just their free might. Well, with just their free will. So I'm going to lock in with Saruman the White. Come at me.
Talk about doubling down. I mean,
are you going to have an easy time in actually building your list as one is?
Oh yeah. Hey,
Not about 12 models in it.
On this list, man. I mean, I've got money to go. We're fine.
all you need is the trifecta with Radagast and throw an Aura of Dismay up there, and it doesn't matter how many models you have.
Don't tempt me.
Before we move on, I also just wanted to point out that Tiberius now has, 2 immobilizes, I think, on a 2-up.
Yep.
Off of those 2 guys. One of which I think.
2-up on one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's ridiculous.
Saruman's really good, and Gandalf helps you get around Saruman's weakness, which is he doesn't have resistance to magic. Throw a Fortify Spirit on him, and
except you can't. Saruman will
Oh,
not accept any spells that Gandalf casts on. So now you
that's
can't
right.
do that.
Oh well, never
But
mind.
Saruman can use all of his will points to resist stuff because he can cast all his spells except for the Boo Hiss Fireball that he's got on just his free dice. Like 75% chance or better, he can cast them all on just the free dice. So it's fine. You're good. You don't need it.
All right.
All right. MinutemanKirk, we are back to you, sir.
Back to me.
End of round 1.
All right. Well, obviously, Círdan needs somebody to go with, and so I will be taking Elendil. I don't think he's particularly strong support per se, but in looking at it from building an armulus perspective, they mesh well. Elendil, I'm sorry, not Elendil. Gilgalad, the ability to. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Elendil? I'm sorry.
You did say
Elendil.
You didn't pick Gilgalad, but you're picking Gilgalad.
You still got time. You can
Yes,
take
okay, I still have time. Yes, Gilgalad is the one I meant to. Going with
No,
that's what I was.
he's a great choice.
Yes.
I am
So leading into the point being that they balance well. That obviously Gilgalad struggles against some things because he doesn't have a lot of fate and he doesn't have any inherent magic, and so using Círdan in tandem with being able to bring 18 Fight 6 warriors is very strong. It's very strong. So I think they just mesh really well together. The only thing I don't like about Círdan in this case is he's not mounted. And so you can't have him ride along with a mounted Gilgalad conversion or model, whatever you decide to use. But I think that the 2 of them, if RedJacket hadn't taken Elrond, I was kind of glad he didn't take both Gilgalad and Elrond, or I would have had struggles deciding what to do next. But both Elendil and Gilgalad mesh really well with Círdan, and so that's my pick.
Oh, Fight 6 elves are bad. Fight 6 elves that cause terror are worse.
Gilgalad is Fight 8 or 9, I think.
9.
9.
With the +1 to wound, he's good, and Might and Glory too.
But with Círdan and Enchanted Blades, now he's re-rolling all his failed to wounds.
Yeah. No, it was between him and Strider, and I was hoping that Gilgalad would make it to pick 12, but alas, I've been anticipated.
Well, your boy Elendil is still there, so you're okay.
Oh yeah, I could get the whole family and not the ring. I did that. Yeah.
No, you just take Bilbo then. You just take Bilbo.
Oh yeah. Oh, 2 ring bearers. All right. Well, that takes us to the end of round 1. It's been exciting so far. So we're gonna take a quick break and then we'll come back with round 2.
All right, so we are back for round 2. And our second round begins in the Serpentine fashion with RedJackets. RedJacket, you already have Elrond and Lindir. Who are you adding to your roster?
I don't know whether we're going with the Council of Elrond theme or something. I'm not really sure. No, I'm definitely not. Here's what I want to do here.
You want Frodo.
Oh, shots fired.
Centaur may like Frodo. I don't know, but I'm sorry. I'm just not a Hobbit fan.
That's fine.
I mean, I've been trounced by them, so like, you know, who am I to judge? But I don't like running hobbits. Not that I've ever run them, but I have a hard time thinking I would enjoy it.
They'll test your blood pressure. I'll tell you that. You worry a lot when you run hobbits.
You know what? I'm going to go with Balin, Dwarf King of Moria.
Why?
Because he's great.
Because he's great. Fight 6, defense 8, 2 attacks with Durin's axe. Like,
He's
seriously?
my boy. Why? Just why?
Tiberius, I assume you why because you love Balin. King
I
of
love
Moria.
Balin. He's
Yes.
so good.
I should have taken him sooner.
And once again, true to my theme, another one of Balin's great strengths is his ability to help assist with priority.
It's true.
So
There was
yeah,
actually-
that's right. You've got the 1-2 punch, which there's a special errata FAQ in there specifically about the interaction between these two.
Oh, really?
I'm
I don't think I've
assuming-
read that
Yeah,
errata.
how the foresight points interact with the Longbeard. And the long and the short is you can choose to, you re-roll the Longbeard after you spend the foresight.
Oh, okay.
So,
Interesting. I did
It
not
gives
realize
you some flexibility there. I think that's how they did it.
No, I'm pretty sure that you re-roll before you boost. But
Yeah, I thought it was the opposite. I thought they
Okay,
gave
well-
Balin the last word.
generally speaking, if you only need one foresight point to win it, you don't
I'm
need
pretty
to roll
sure
it,
it's the
so-
other way. I'm pretty sure you do Elrond's
Okay.
foresight first. So you got
Look
to.
it up.
He has to decide how many points.
20 seconds. All right.
You get to play around with that. So
in any event, I didn't know any of those intricacies. All I knew is I like priority, and now I'm going to be able to get it.
A lot of the time.
I'm
Horrible
mostly
person.
sad because I had Balin from the Champions of Erebor relatively high on my board just to troll Tiberius because I know he hates that version of.
I do.
I'm on the
It's a
clock. I
horrible
think.
version. Not as bad as the Army of Thor, but second worst. All right, pick number 12, Rythbryt.
All right. So I've got Isildur, I've got the Ring Bearer, I've got Strider, I've got my might figured out. I think I have every heroic action I would ever possibly want. I have good core troops. The dead are good. Dead backed up by Numenorians, quite good. I feel like I need some banner bonuses as well. I'd also like to get a little bit of, not that you're worried about charging terror models with the Army of the Dead. It's always nice to have some fearless stuff, especially for the Numenorians if you got to get them into fight. And I'd also like some hitting power because while the Numenorians at Fight For are pretty good, they all got single-handed weapons. So I am going to take Angbor, the Fearless, and get a banner and a 6-inch Fearless banner bubble for my guys, and I can take really cheap clansmen and get some more heroic strike because you can never have too much of that.
Klansmen are ridiculously good. The few times that I run fiefdoms, it's typically so that I can run Klansmen.
Looking through all these things, I was like, oh my gosh, fiefdoms. Like, I already have too much of a backlog, or I would seriously start looking at buying fiefdoms models.
Gondor on steroids. I mean, it's no secret. Every single model in the fiefdoms is worth thinking about taking, and the problem is you can't take them all in anything resembling a normal points list.
They are very good.
Imrahil, 12 inches, 12-inch rerolls.
He's on here, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, he's on here.
Oh, hey, and it's my pick. Well, so,
Whoops.
Yeah, but Radagast is still there.
oh, I know. See,
Heck, Boromir is still there.
here's the rub. See, because Boromir is still here, and again, I have a chance to bring in people from the fold and just prove to them that I don't think Boromir is a horrible person. Pick number 13 is not a bad pick for somebody who is just one of the best beat sticks in the game. But if I take him, I'm just going to click on him here just to show. I am already at 590 points.
Yeah,
And
but no
that's
truth.
kind of a lot with only 3 picks left. So, no offense but I'm going to go with somebody else. And the pick that I have in mind is Radagast the Brown, because if you can't get rid of Horses through Sorcerous Blast, 2 Sorcerous Blasts, Panic Steed, baby.
Did I not say Radagast? Isn't that who I said to pick?
Yes, you did. And I'm going to take him because he is amazing. And comes in at 70 points less than Boromir. So, you know, there's like that too. So there you go. Kirk, it is.
Oh, no, hold on. We're just going to let that skate through?
I thought I'd try.
I mean, I've just given up trying to convince him. Otherwise, that's all.
You'll have fun.
What do you need a 3rd wizard for? And what happens when you get swarmed?
More magic.
Well, hey, I can take 15 guys with Gandalf the White. I've got 3 more picks. I can pick people who can bring lots of people. I can hedge 2 wizards. I can hedge 3 wizards. So I'm not actually too worried. I've run Radagast quite a bit with Rivendell. I've never run him with multiple other wizards besides Elrond, but I'm fairly certain that we can figure something out. So,
all right. Radagast is in 2 lists.
Correct.
So which one are you taking?
White Council. So
Okay.
that he and Saruman get +1 to their resisting rolls.
You don't want to bring
They're
any great
totally
eagles
going to
with
stay
you?
next to each other and have a great time about it.
You don't want to pack any great eagles into your list?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay.
Don't talk about the Great Eagles.
Army of 7, here we go.
All right, we are on to MinutemanKirk's pick number 1 for round 2. Where are you going, sir?
Where am I going? Well, that's a good question. So on the one hand, I have lots of heroes I would like to take right now because I love the heroes, they're strong heroes. On the other hand, I'm a big stickler about bringing thematic armies. I really don't like cheese lists. I really don't like 2 white wizards in the same, sort
2 whites and a brown wizard.
I'm not
2
a
whites and a
fan.
brown wizard. Try to keep up.
So I will say, if I was going for a cheese list, if I was going that route, and for the purpose of the draft, there's nothing wrong with that. You can be who you want to be as far as a drafter goes. And I would probably, in that case, take someone like Durin, because Durin is awesome. I love Durin. He is just rock solid, no pun intended. There's also the likes of Boromir, and there are all these things. However, in interest of keeping with the thematic element of it, my first pick for this round will be also my second major hero pick, which is going to be Celeborn. Celeborn is a
nice.
reasonably steep beat stick. He doesn't have a horse, unfortunately. But when you're pairing Círdan with both Gilgalad and Celeborn, not only do you have now a foot model who can kind of follow him around while Gilgalad goes and crushes things, but you're also getting a second Lord of the West for under 200 points, which is, in my opinion, a real steal. And his stats are not a lot different than the other Lords of the West, minus the fact that he has to carry a shield and not just automatically be defense 7, which is kind of a shame. But, so that is my second, or my first. It's my third overall pick. That's what I'm taking.
Not that
And a
it
second
matters.
access to Enchanted Blades, too, if you need it.
Correct.
So,
Yep.
Not that it matters, but is this the White Council version or the Lothlorien version? They're exactly the same, but
well, one
And
can
the
be warriors and the other one
Yeah.
can.
We're going to say the Lothlorien version because the White Council appears to be busy fighting themselves. So
No, fighting with each other. They're all working
fighting
together.
with each other. Oh, okay.
It's a great pick, solid pick. Celeborn is great. He's very good. Lords of the West, never can have too many of them.
Ooh. I would pick Glorfindel, but he offers absolutely no bonuses to his friends. So.
Yeah, I don't think he's in this one. If we do a Slayer,
He's a shell hog.
he'll be in the Slayers one for sure.
He is.
All right, Centaur.
Here in round 2, I have the back-to-back picks, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yes, you do.
And typically this is where people would take that nice 1-2 punch. They grab like the Boromir of the White Tower with somebody else who's very, very useful, or wow, I have this opportunity to lock up 2 people. And I am going with 2 very different and very weird choices that you guys probably think I could get away with in round 3, but I'm going to take them now just to make sure I get them. So the first is just to solidify our damage core going into this list, and that is Meriadoc Brandybuck from the Shire list. This bad boy right here guarantees that you get your nice courage. You get a solid A+ defense 5 with a shield, which is awesome. You get a kick butt, actually, I'm not going to mention the strength right now. That's probably a bad idea. But you get yourself 2 might points for a discount, which is excellent. But most importantly, you get to take one of the most killy units in the game. And you get to take 15 of them. That's right, a strength 4 5-point model when you piercing strike with that axe on a Hobbit militia who's been turned into a Battling Brandybuck. That right there is an A+ need for this army, 100%. But to complement that, as my next pick, so you can go ahead and you can just switch over to the next one, Tiberius.
Right.
What you really need when you're protecting, Lorien elves, and I tend to prefer the later D3 wood elves over and against the Galadrim. I think it's just, I don't know, thematically, I just tend to like them. And, if nobody ever reaches them, they're just really, really nice spear support that can also shield while spears, with spears, which is just awesome. And if you've got Rangers who are relatively low defense but very good in close combat, and you've got Shire Rats who are relatively low defense, what you really need is a good bulwark in order to keep them safe. So for my 4th pick, I am taking Ingold from the Minas Tirith list. Ingold is crazy good. Not only can he be accompanied with boys with shield wall, but he makes sure they don't even need to back up. So if you really just need to hold a spot, let's say you need to protect the Lady of Light, or let's say you want to make sure that Halbarad and his boys don't get pushed around, this is your man. Guarantees you hold the spot, easy for holding objectives. This guy is the jam. Should I have picked these guys later? I don't know. You can guess when we see my round 3s. But I really, really like this guy. So we'll take him too.
Ingold is an excellent choice. He is definitely not a better choice than Meriadoc, Captain of the Shire. I was kind of hoping to get Ingold later in the game, but yeah, a very, very solid choice, especially if you're running kind of cheapish Minas Tirith guys in there to benefit from the shield wall. He's an excellent choice.
Cool. I'm done.
All right. Well, if there's no other discussion,
I mean, like you said, Ingold seems a little bit of a reach, but I mean, he's 3 might, he's got strike, and he's got the shield wall if you want to set it up. So he's on my list. He's right about this range where I had him a little bit higher, but he's good.
How many points is he? I don't actually have the Gondor at War book.
He's 65, so he's a tad bit on the. He's more expensive than your Madril and your. What's the other one?
generic captain.
Yeah, but the nice thing about him is, like, your generic Minas Tirith captain with a shield will run you about 60 points. Right. So you're really paying an extra 5 points for an extra might point, a special rule, and heroic strike. Like, it's insane how much you actually get for Ingold. And he's still a fortitude guy, so you can take a good solid core of guys who can shield wall with him. So yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
He's good. He's good. I mean, pretty much everybody in Gondor is good.
Yeah.
No surprise.
Pretty much. No one is as good as Denethor, though. All right, MinutemanKirk, we have you, sir.
I'm up next. All right. Well, having taken 2 largish heroes, it is time to go for some cheapish heroes. And to that extent, we're going to continue with the theme of the army, and we're going to go with a High Elf Stormcaller.
Nice.
Interesting.
The reason being, gives you some cheap crowd control. It's a cheap hero, so to bring more warriors, to bring more stuff like that. But being able to have a crowd control on a 3+ on a hero that is frequently overlooked will grant can potentially have some very impactful consequences. Just being able to shove that one guy, if you're tied down, if you're too busy trying to take care of Gilgalad or Círdan, or even Celeborn himself, then you can kind of sneak up and blow your opponent away with a sneaky, cheeky call wins move. So pretty reliable, 3 will, and then if you are facing something, you get that strength and will to move. So just kind of another support-oriented one meant to give some flexibility with the army.
The nerf that they got from just a D6 instead of a 2D6 is regrettable. Putting anything on their back, though, regardless of strength, is a really good benefit. And as someone who's been playing a lot with Sorcerer's Blast, I can tell you, I mean, if you're facing trolls and stuff, you really wish you brought the Stormcaller, because knocking a troll over, that is, that will pay for this little 60-point hero with, no problem at all.
Exactly. Well, and as much as I love Kieran, he doesn't have a lot of actual crowd control. It's all buffs. And so I almost took Saruman the White earlier so that you have that more potent magic, but he came off the board a little too quick. So
yeah,
shocker. All right. So we are here with my pick number 18. All right. Now I am doing the math here real quick. I have spent 540 points of my 800, which means I still have 260, which means I can still get one expensive model. And the cool thing about this list is that I have 3 wizards. They existed in both time periods, not Gandalf the White as Gandalf the White, but they both existed during the time period of The Hobbit and in The Lord of the Rings. And so I have the ability to kind of choose people from either side. So I was thinking it would be really fun to throw in these 3 wizards with Thorin. Thorin, king under the mountain.
Oh.
Because if you have to protect an amazing core of wizards, you want 18 Iron Hills dwarves. They mounted on goats or wielding crossbows or just shield and spearing it. And for only 100 points if you run the Thorin's Coming version, 115 if you run this one, I've got lots of points for nice big old beefy versions of all his little friends later. Or I can go and reach out to grab some guys from Lake Town or whatever. And we just say the White Council decided, hose that old Goldor scene. Let's all go over and meet at the mountain. So that's my choice. I'm a huge fan of Thorin. I like the Thorin's Company version one better than any of the other 2 versions, either of the other 2 versions. But here in this list, I need models. And so Thorin, I think, is going to do it for me. Counts as a banner, too, which I currently don't have any banners because I passed on Boromir. But,
so
yeah.
you're choosing the Thorin
King under the mountain. King under the mountain.
So you know that his banner effect only affects.
It only affects the dwarves of Erebor, yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna do it, you better take the shield and spear dwarves, because
your optimism about having points for goats is impressive.
That's what I was thinking. Just like,
well, if he takes a couple of goats and 8 guys and nobody from anybody else, he might pull it off.
I might pull it off. You never know.
They will cause terror. These dwarves.
That's true.
They will. But they will.
Also not fun.
Yeah.
I always forget about terror because I play elves. So
protected from archery already.
Terror? What's that?
Terror, archery, yeah. Magic, yeah. Blinding light, yeah. A lot of things.
Okay. All right. So we've talked about that long enough, apparently. All right. So we have Rythbryt. Your pick number 4, 19th pick overall. How do you have so many points left?
Huh?
How do you have so many points left?
Because like I said, I've crunched the numbers. I'm trying to balance expense, not expense, because I really like troops for these. I am going to take a magic caster before they're all gone, because it's important to have one. The choice at this point, and I'm not taking 2, so I'll just pontificate on this. The choice at this point is Gildor or Arwen.
Oh,
and I like choice. Gildor more.
Yeah.
As Gildor's got the immobilize on the 3+, which is always nice to have, and he can cast it up to 4 times. And then additionally, he's got the 8-inch move, Wood Elves. And Wood Elves are not, they're not super expensive. I mean, they're not super cheap. They're not super expensive. They're sort of in that sweet spot, depending on how you customize them. And they're Fight 5, and I don't have any Fight 5 in my army yet, so I'm going to take Gildor.
It's a good choice.
And get some more movement. Not that I can't take cavalry Well, I guess I can't take cavalry, really. Well, no, I've got Dol Amroth and I've got the dead.
Well, Gildor also allows you to take Noldor Exiles in his warband. He isn't limited to exclusively.
Oh, great, perfect, great. Then we'll get some
so you take Rivendell Knights if you wanted.
Yeah.
No, probably not.
Well,
I have some Rivendell Knights. They're beautiful models. They are
good.
expensive for this. We'll see how we do. We'll see how we do.
They are really expensive, but they are really, really nice.
That's true.
They do everything.
Yes,
They're
literally.
particularly nice if you have Elrond in your army.
Yes. Yes. All right, so that's my pick. I'm going to take Gildor.
Excellent. Man, the Rivendell players are very popular today. All right, RedJacket, you are wrapping up round 2.
So I am shocked and appalled that no one has taken the Boromir of the White Tower yet. Like I'm living in a dream. Like basically he I don't even have him on my list because I could not imagine that he would have lasted long enough. And I knew I had things I wanted to pick before him, but I am not passing up a 6-inch banner with a 6 might hero with 3 fate because he's not supposed to die yet. Like how that's
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. He's a solid choice, an excellent hero. Here I am admitting it on our own stuff. He is an excellent hero, but
I thought about him long and hard at 12 and 19, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. Mostly because I think Kirk would have had an aneurysm if I had Isildur and Strider and Boromir in the same list. But, you know, he's great. He's fantastic. And it is sort of a travesty that he's fallen to 20. But I'm glad he didn't fall anymore. Good for him.
I would only
I'm just glad that we didn't run out of centerpiece models.
No, yes. I would only have had an aneurysm if, in fact, you tried to play me with both of them in one game. I don't care for theory purposes, but if you try to play him at the same time, then I would have an aneurysm.
Yeah. All right, lads. Well, that is the end of round 2. So I guess we'll just take a quick break then and get ready for round 3. All right, so we are back then. We are starting the 3rd and final round of the draft, and first pick of round 3 goes to Rythbryt.
Oh, I forgot about
Rythbryt,
that.
I'll give you a second to think. Check your sheets and stuff. And
Bill the pony's still in there.
the pony's still there.
I'm gonna crunch some
Your boy
numbers
Bilbo
real
is
quick.
still there.
I don't need Bilbo. I've got Isildur.
unless you take Elendil, then you need Bilbo.
No, that's okay. All right, let's see. I got, let's see. I'm doing all right on points right now.
I'll just remind you that the only thing better than a free might point every turn for Aragorn is more than 1 free might point every turn in case you lost some.
You've anticipated me.
There you go.
Oh no.
I was gonna take Boromir if he was still here at 21 because he should do that, but it occurs to me for quite a bit less than Boromir, I can take Helm Hammerhand from the Helm Legendary Legion to fill out my leaders and have 2 legendary heroes with 3 might points and get fight 5 Royal Guards.
Yeah.
Within 6 inches of him. So I think as expensive as that's going to set me back, that's the play. So I can take Helm Hammerhand.
I thought you were gonna go the Tom Bombadil route there for a moment.
Oh.
When you had 2 free might points. It's
He's
like
expensive
don't
too.
do that.
I don't believe in Tom Bombadil. Tom Bombadil is in the book for the sake of having him in the book.
Oh, shots fired.
And that is your opinion.
That refreshing song spell, I think when we talked about the spells, the magic in that pod, I was shocked by how crazy that is, that spell.
Yeah.
It's stupidly good.
Best spell in the game. Best spell in the game. All right. Well, unless anybody else argues with Helm Hammerhand, we will advance to RedJacket. Pick number 22.
So I'm like swimming in points, and I did not think that was going to be the case. But even still, I'm going to like I have if unless my math is totally whacked, I have almost 300 points left.
Yep.
You do.
But I am still going with Madrill. So 55 points, 3 might. Admittedly, he's only fight 4, defense 5, but I have been hosed so many times in Maelstrom battles, and I like my troops going where I want them to go. And putting him on the board, first warband down, plus or minus 1 on a Maelstrom table is crazy. So I don't see any other choice for me personally.
You could take Robin Smallborough for about 1/3 of the points.
See, once again, I don't have, so I have not invested yet in any of the extra books. So I don't have the Showering of the Shire.
He's a 20-point Hobbit who does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
With a much worse profile.
He doesn't have 3 might, though.
He doesn't
And you
have
got to
3
take
might.
hobbits. Yeah.
So, yeah. And I don't know what his special rule is, but the nice thing about Madrill is it's all the war bands in your army.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing for Smallborough.
That includes allied, so.
Yep.
Anyway.
They are both excellent choices if you worry about Maelstrom fights, for sure. For sure. All right. Our next pick is Centaurs. Centaur, where are you going?
Oh, I'm going where everybody knows I'm going.
No centerpieces yet.
I have no centerpieces. In fact, I am not going to draft any centerpieces. I have set up my list as a full support model force because this is great. So for those of you who have ever seen me play, you guys probably already know where I'm going. I am taking Hullfoot Brace Girdle. This is a very bizarre pick for some people, I'm sure, but the ability to make a Hobbit Sheriff not suffer a penalty when two-handing simply means that since you were going to two-hand anyway, because that's how you kill stuff reliably in this game, now you can do it with impunity. And when you're backing up and you've got guys holding a good solid anvil, and these guys are allowed to just be a nice hammer around the side, maybe a little bit of strength 4 thrown into their fights, these guys are awesome. Yes, it's kind of a bizarre pick. I'm sure I probably could have saved it for 6th, but Tiberius is one of those unreliable people. You just never really know with him. So I figured I'd take it before he does. So I'm taking Hullfoot Brace Girdle.
Hullfoot is an excellent choice. He's an auto include for all Shire armies now. He's one of only 2 Shire heroes who get you access to Heroic March, which you really need March if you're running Hobbits. So. Yeah, I like it. He's an excellent choice. So good. 30 points. So. All right. Our next pick goes to me. Okay. Well, so in the vein of bringing people who can support Thorin, the ideal people, of course, in any Erebor reclaimed list that you take to support Thorin are Dan, who I cannot pick because I have 2 centerpieces, Dwalin, who I cannot pick because he's not here, and Glowin, who I cannot pick because he's not here. But right behind them is Dory the Dwarf. And the great thing about Dory is that if Frodo is also in your army, you can give Frodo Baggins 4 or 5 might points, depending on which version of Dory and Bilbo you use, to call strike or defense or whatever you need in order to keep people alive. So I'm going to pick Dory. He's another 3-attack fight 5 hero. The Champion of Erebor version, which is, of course, the one that we're going to choose, has a 2-handed weapon that he wields without penalty. That's through Weapon Master, not Burly. So even if it gets shattered, he's still fighting, but not counting as unarmed. He's an amazing model, Hero of Fortitude, brings 12 more dwarves to our fight. Absolutely wonderful choice. And only 55 points, and only 80 points in Champion of Erebor version, which is important because I really need the points. So yeah, we're gonna go with that, I think.
Now, quick reminder: Dory has 3 attacks, doesn't he?
Yes, 3 attacks.
That's ridiculous. The relatively low cost for what you get with Dory is just ridiculous.
No strike, but he's got strength, so you're gonna really pound through something if you want. Crush Sauron if you need
More importantly, he has defense.
Yeah.
He's a nice little roadblock because he's got the 3 attacks anyway. He doesn't get any penalties for his weapon. And if you're really worried about whatever you're fighting, just make him wound you on natural 6s. Some people will wound you on natural 6s anyway. If anybody is strength 3 or below, it's 6s by 6s for them to wound you. So he can hold you up for a while.
All right, we have then MinutemanKirk.
All right, perfect. Well, I believe I have the next 2 picks.
You do, back to back.
And this will be very interesting. So one of the things I want to do is create, as we're doing these drafts for the theory portion, I wanted to try to build an army where I could bring all of the heroes in it, which means getting a few cheap heroes. Furthermore, having heroes that work well together. So the first of these 2 is going to be the Galadrim Stormcaller. Again, we already talked about with the High Elf Stormcaller, reasonably cheap at only 60 points. You get the 3. Well, the other thing it has is the Enchanted Blade. So you now have 3 heroes.
Oh my gosh!
If you so choose, and you can do some. And granted, you're about to run out of heroes more likely. So that's that. The other pick is a little bit cheeky. A little known fact or frequently forgotten fact.
Here we go.
Have Bilbo in a Rivendell list. And I actually need to pick the figure up. I don't have the figure, unfortunately.
I always forget that.
He's a beautiful little model. Old model, but very good.
It is. So I need to find that and pick it up. But here's why it's a little cheeky, in addition to just being, involved with Rivendell, as it were. You can slip the ring on in a ridiculously high courage army that has, I believe, access to war horns. Yes, War's room to get a war horn. So you get a war horn, you get the extra perk to courage. Slip the ring on. You can go sit on an objective, or you can keep him next to one of your uber heroes, or even your regular warriors. And even if a hero somewhere calls a heroic strike and gets a 10, one of your Rivendell guard who are with Gilgalad is going to beat a hero that calls heroic strike even with a 10. So very cheeky little figure to throw in there. I don't know that it will get a lot of use, as it were, on the table. But if my math is right, I can take this entire force for only 515 points, which means you still have almost 500 points for warriors, and you have 2 Stormcallers in addition to Círdan, with 2 of the better beatsticks in the game, especially Gilgalad, but even Círdan is up there, and all in a nice condensed package. So I have successfully accomplished my goals for this draft, and feel accomplished. Quick draft score, A+.
I am kicking myself that I picked Dory before I picked Bilbo. I wanted them both.
I was going to say, you sort of tipped your hand a little bit.
I am kicking myself. Oh.
Yes, your son is weeping for you.
And I have the next pick. I was literally 1 pick too short. Okay, well, then given that, if you're going to run a list and you're going to throw in all of these amazing Erebor Reclaimed heroes, there are 2 people on the list right now that are standing out for me as excellent choices. The first is the Iron Hills Captain. Not only are they decently cheap, but they've got that Master of Battle 5+, which allows them to copy heroic strikes that are called nearby them, potentially for free, which they normally can't do. They can, of course, give you 2 points of might you can use for marches or combats or moves. They're really good. You can also mount them on goats. I am probably, though, going to go with Oin the Dwarf. Oin allows you that nice little niche banner reroll to a friendly model that's within distance of him. All he needs to do is spend will that he can get back because we have Gandalf the White, and will that we can stockpile because strength and will can allow you to go above your starting will store. So Oin the Dwarf also allows you to heal your models, which is phenomenally good, especially when those models are dwarves and are already hard to kill. So I am going to go with Oin. He is a hero of fortitude in this list as well. He's also available to my beloved Khazad Doom Kingdom of Moria list, where healing dwarves in that list has proven to be kind of a bit of an annoyance. So, so I'm going to go with Oin, who is amazing, and just regret that I couldn't take Bilbo because I was stupid.
Oin is great. He is the only one, I think, who's got only the one attack, which is kind of weird. But he's got the shield if you need it, and he's tough to get through. And the healing is cool. So,
unless Ori also has the one attack, I'm pretty sure he's the only one.
no, Ori's got 2. Yeah.
And he's the only one.
You are going all in on those Iron Hills dwarves
I'm going all in on my Iron Hills dwarves.
to keep your wizard safe.
Hey, it's a way. All right, we are here at pick number 28. Only 3 picks left in the draft, and we are here with Centaur. Last pick of the draft. Centaur, what are you doing?
So before I mention my final pick, which again goes back to this whole idea of banners and the fact that I like banners, I just want to say why I'm not picking Theoden. Because I love the revamp to Theoden. I think they did a really good job with fixing the model. I know that in the older editions, I really didn't see the reason to play him. I tried him out in a couple games, and granted, I played against Tiberius. He had no will points, and I was against magic casters all the time. So maybe in the old edition, I just didn't see a good view of Theoden. But with the new one, I really liked what they did with him. I am not picking him, though, because of the fact that, frankly, the cavalry side wasn't really working with what I had. It's definitely to your advantage if you're not running him in the Helm's Deep Legendary Legion to run him mounted alongside other mounted people, because you can take advantage of the Rohan special rule. And since Éomer and a bunch of the other killy heroes for Rohan are not in this list, it's one of the primary reasons why I passed over Theoden. He just didn't work. But I do want to shout out here, I want to pick Theoden on this pick. Instead, I'm going to be taking Frodo of the Nine Fingers from the Shire list. He counts as a 6-inch banner radius. He's going to be very necessary for the about 40 or so Hobbit models we're going to be running in this army. He's going to be making sure that you got yourself a really reliable heroic defense and heroic resolve. So if you need to keep your boys standing, and if you need to stay up, you can do that pretty easily. While definitely he's not a killy hero, again, this is a support draft, and so I decided to go for very supporty sort of stuff. And I figure if we've got 2 6-inch banner bubbles, it means I don't have to spend 25 points on another banner, and we should be able to cover basically everyone. And that's the notion. And I feel like rolling more dice is probably a great way to win fights, and winning fights is how you kill people. And if you've got an army of around 80 people, you'll probably break them first. That's my thinking. So, Frodo.
On a pony or not on a pony?
Not that I have to choose now, but probably not on a pony. I don't want him getting shot at. That's the big thing. I'd rather that he be hiding behind my D6 fighting wall. So if people want to, they'll have to break through the shield wall first.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. Okay, we are here at RedJacket. RedJacket, it is your last pick. You have a mixture of
Please don't.
elves and men and dwarves.
Yeah, it's a really weird setup. And I've kind of I'm struggling with exactly what I want to do next here. You know what? I will just go ahead with a shield bearer.
Ah.
Shield bearers are good.
I was wondering if he was going to make the
Old
list.
favorite.
It was shield bearer versus Theoden.
Ah.
Well, yeah. The shield bearers used to be my go-to. I used to have 2 of them flanking whoever the army leader was. So you get free heroic combats. They pull guys off the army leader's fight if you need to, or just go crunching through the guys around. Really, really powerful. Really, really good.
Yeah.
That brings us to Rythbryt.
I have the last one, right?
Last pick of the
Now,
round.
with Theoden, you said you didn't take Theoden, right?
That's correct. I chose the shield bearer over him.
I can't take him. I'm out of the big picture stuff. I am a little surprised he's not gone, but everybody's building stuff that's different. Are there any Rohan heroes who have been taken yet?
I don't think so.
None
Okay,
have.
that's what I thought. I'm a little surprised by that also.
Well,
Except for me,
the reason
not
is
Helm.
all of their buffs are specific to Rohan.
Yes.
And a lot of the guys who benefit the most from it are not in the draft.
Yeah. So I had played around with the idea of taking Gamling, because what's better than 2 free points of might each turn? 3 points and 4 points of might each turn. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take Grimbold. The reason is threefold. One, he has 3 points of might, and I sort of need some additional might, I feel like, for some other stuff. 2, he's cheap, and I'm sort of maxed out on the heroes that I'm taking. 3, I get access to Helmingas, which means I can have quite a bit of strength 4, which is kind of nice. And 4th and 5th, what number am I on? Most importantly, it means I can take Haleth, son of Hama, as an independent hero and buff Aragorn to fight 7.
Oh, true.
And buff, create another +1 fight 6-inch bubble, which I need to check the rules and see if that stacks with Helm Hammerhands. I'm pretty sure it doesn't, but if it does, that's fight 6 Royal Guards.
It is entirely possible that they stack.
I'm pretty sure they wouldn't. Why would they make that?
Except, I do see one minor problem with this. Now, of course, we're probably hand-waving it. Before anybody watching this gets any ideas, Helm Hammerhand does have part of his rules that says he can't be taken with any other named Rohan heroes. We're, of course, hand-waving it. But in a normal game,
Right.
the reason why they probably do stack is because they've assumed that it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. So.
The Haleth rule, by the way, just so you're aware, says that if at the start of the fight phase, Haleth is engaged in combat, for the duration of the turn, Aragorn and other friendly Rohan infantry models within 6 inches of Haleth add 1 to their fight value. So as long as they're not mounted,
Right.
then that would be fight 6 Royal Guards if they're also within range of Helm. And if Helm is not mounted and he's within range, then he gets better too.
6 Helm, yeah.
So.
I'm going to have, like, no troops, but I'm going to have a good time calling free heroic combats every turn.
Well, I mean, if you just spring for a few axe Rohan guys,
Yep.
you got, piercing strike, strength 5.
Yep. And dead dudes. Yeah. It'll be interesting. It's going to be very small. It won't be as small as Tiberius's, but it'll be fun. We'll have a good time. All right. There we go. That's it. I'm done. I'm out of time.
Okay, so with the draft over, we're going to do a quick recap in the order in which we originally drafted. So we are going to begin with our dear MinutemanKirk. Kirk, why don't you give us a quick recap over the models that you've chosen?
I'm still crunching maths and things. This is terrible. Okay, surely I will do this. Well, as I mentioned in the video, I thought that my draft was superb, fabulous, unbeatable even. A little exaggeration there. However, it is quite strong. Part of the goal is obviously having a ton of high fight warriors, and if I've calculated correctly, then I should still have about 100 points left over after taking 18 fight 6 high elves and 15 fight 6 Lothlorien elves, meaning that I'll have about 100 points for archers or other random dudes for that. But then the only people in this entire list who would not be fight 6 or higher base would be Bilbo, the Stormcallers, and that's it.
Right.
Because I think Círdan is fight 6 as well, isn't he? Or is he
I think it's 5.
5, I think.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
5.
He's
Okay,
5.
So Círdan. Oh, yes.
This is retirement version, Círdan.
He'll tie the Balrog in a ring fight.
Yes. So you only have 4 models out of that group. Now, there will be some more less than fight 6 because I'll probably throw some archers in there or some knights or something. But that is incredibly difficult to beat. You still have 500 points. So just with that there, you get, 20, 33 models for warriors who are fight 6. And that's just kind of scary. So I accomplished my goals. I'm a little surprised I was able to get all the heroes I was. I didn't think I'd be able to get both Círdan and Gil-galad and Celeborn. I thought at least one of those would have gone somewhere else. But the luck of the draw, I suppose, and we will see how exciting the list can be. I'm not sure if I'd ever be able to actually take this in real life, as it were, mostly because I don't plan on buying any Lothlorien stuff, but it would be a hoot and a half to try at some point.
I don't have Galadrim Guard, but you're welcome to borrow my Celeborn. So.
Ironically, I had 6 Galadrim Guard and I sold them.
You are closer than most of us, I think. And the only thing I'm not sure, I think there's a rule in Google Ads things. I don't know that you could take. Is Frodo one of the ones that's excluded? That's the only thing that sort of sticks out as a hard bar. You could do the rest.
Bilbo.
Yeah, you couldn't take Bilbo and Gilgalad.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
But beyond that, I mean, it's a.
I ruined my list.
Should have left him for me.
Sorry.
Okay, well, that's
Your world's closer than mine.
Oh yeah, mine is ridiculous.
Whereas mine is on point. Speaking of mine, I am doing some fancy math here. Real fancy. Okay, all right. So my list, of course, I'm very satisfied with it. I love dwarves. I love wizards. I love throwing weapons. I couldn't get any other throwing weapons in here, but that's not my fault. That's the draft's fault. I did get my 3 favorite wizards in the entire game. They're phenomenal. Saruman is great. Gandalf is great. Radagast is great. You pair all 3 of them together, and it really makes your opponent think about what they want to do. When you add in 3 very tough dwarves, 1 that heals and 2 that kill things, and all of this coming in at about a little bit over 800 points when you get them gear and stuff. I have Shadowfax in here. I've got Orcrist for Thorin. When you do that, you're at 820, 830 points. Ooh. And, so you really only have room for kind of the bare minimum Iron Hills dwarves besides that. But you don't really need that many, so long as you can manage how many of your opponents are coming towards you and in how strong of waves they're coming. One of the great things about Sorcerous Blast, as I've mentioned before, Panic Steed does the same thing, is that because they put models on the grounds, your opponent's army has to either wait for them to get up and move half their distance, which slows them down, or they leave them behind, and now they're coming in 2 6-inch divided waves. Or generally speaking, it's going to be about 6 inches divided 6 inches. And so if you have a battery of things that are just slowly working them through, someone like Thorin with Dory on his side and Oin backing him up to give him a banner, like a second dice reroll besides the one that they're getting from Thorin, it's absolutely incredible. And your dwarves at that point are really just hedging in order to try to keep the heroes from getting overwhelmed. And I think it will be great. It's one of those lists that you wouldn't expect anyone to be able to take and do well with unless they really know what they're doing. And frankly, I'm not even sure I can do that. The cool thing, too, about this list, and the last thing I say, is I can put cheaper Minas Tirith guys in there as well if I really need the models. I can fit 15 in with Gandalf the White. At 8 or 9 points per model, I think I can get out a fair span from there for about 100 points. So, I'm probably looking at only about 20-something models, very small, but very hard to close with. So I'm very satisfied. And I got Gandalf, so I was going to be happy regardless.
And if you bring in your Minas Tirith, you still keep your shield wall.
I still keep my shield
wall. Yes,
wall.
That's true. It's the one that they don't let you do that normally, but you could pull it off with this. That's a different thing. I won't rant on that.
All right, Centaur.
So I'm very pleased. I had 6 primary choices that I wanted in the draft. I got all 6 of them. So I'm very, very pleased with that, which is good. It is a very unique list, but it's designed to counter a lot of stuff. It's not going to have basically any cavalry at all, but it's going to be large. It'll come out to about 75 models when all is said and done, which works out really well. This, of course, is mostly due to the fact that even if you include the Mirror of Galadriel, the draft is only 490 points. So you have over half of your points that can be divested into a whole lot of warriors. The thing I think that I like most about it, though, is how much 3+ shoot value you have in this army. Between a number of Hobbit archers that you can basically take all of Frodo's warband, or all, probably I would just do all of Frodo's warband, and I'd fill all of the others with Batlin Brandy Bucks and Sheriffs. But so you've got easily 12 there. You've got probably about 6 elves in Galadriel's force with those really, really nice elf bows, and then Halbrod and his crew of rangers too. So you get a really, really nice core. You could easily have 20 shots, all on a 3+ shoot. A couple, not many of them, but a couple of them do have might points. And so you get a lot of options. If you need to push people off of a hill, you can do it pretty well. If you don't want to get pushed back, you can throw a blinding light up. You get the unique ability to be able to replenish fate points, which this particular army needs, because you basically run a massive 1 fate point on everybody pretty much army, with the exception of like Galadriel and Frodo. But you know what? It's okay. I think on the whole, I'd actually be very curious to see this, and I might actually consider running it at a tournament if we had the point limit and if it was allowed, because I'm actually rather tickled by this list. It's kind of fun.
You could get even more bows by putting bows on Minas Tirith warriors, embed them with shields into the shield wall of Ingold. Just
yeah, I think I'm going to save the points there. Yeah, I'm going to save the points there.
All right, we have Rythbryt.
So I could talk about all the fantastic synergies that go into this list. The bottom line is this list is straight cheese, and it's built for one purpose only, to kill the Balrog. If we have the Balrog later on, and I think I can do that pretty successfully. We have Isildur with the ring, who's the hardest counter of hard counters for the Balrog. We have Strider for the heroic defense all day long. If we happen to lose, there's no way the Balrog is beating us. We've got multiple Elven blades. We got Gildor Glorian, so we can wear down his will with some transfixes. We've got Angbor with Fearless Clansman. We've got Helm Hammerhand, as if one might-wielding Aragorn wasn't enough. Now we've got more. And we got Grimbold for laughs and giggles. So straight cheese. Makes absolutely no sense. I'm going to pay through the wazoo to make all of these army bonuses even remotely playable. But I'm going to have an awfully good time. And since there's no gambling, since there's no Tom Bombadil, since there's no Goldberry, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have might when everybody else is out. Unless Gil-galad starts chewing on my dudes, I guess.
I also just want to point out the amazing amount of strength 5 swordsmen you've got in this army. And a guy who wounds everybody on 4+ or better.
Yep.
Pretty impressive.
If we had 3,000 points, this would be really deadly. But at 1,000, it's going to be a little hard.
3,000.
I mean, if dreams were horses, yes.
It's great cheese. I make no bones about it.
Yeah, well, you'll have to convince Jeremy Hunthor to do that with you. He loves big games. All right. All right, RedJacket, you were the fifth pick.
Mine is equivalently irrational. It was mostly just for fun. Like I said, I started off by exploring all the different civilizations and finding cool heroes, and that's pretty much what this was all about for me. I was happy that I got my Elrond and Lindir off the bat, and after that it was just picking my favorite ones. I did cover my bases. I got really lucky with Boromir. The banner was the one thing that I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get effectively, particularly when Halbrand went as early as he did, which I mean wasn't surprising, but I was just sort of hoping. So basically, I've got lots of help with priority, lots of pretty killy heroes. I've got a great banner. I've got some 12-inch standfasts. Well, only one, but actually, no, I don't. I don't think Elrond's is 12 inches, is it? I don't remember.
I don't think so. I think it's just the normal 6-inch.
Gil-galad's is.
Yeah, Gil-galad's is 12. That's what I was thinking of. But either way, like, I was just having fun. I feel like I covered my bases. I've got the priority help. I've got the Maelstrom help. I've got a good amount of might, a decent amount of high defense. I don't know. It was just fun. That's about all it was.
Well, and you've got the only Khazad, right? So you've got the only Vault Wardens.
No, didn't someone take Durin or no?
I don't think so. No.
No, we talked about Durin, but I don't think Durin actually got chosen.
He did
Yeah,
not.
well, I mean, if I felt like going with some Vault Wardens, I could. They're awfully expensive, but but yeah, I have the high defense dwarf option if I want to go that route.
All right, so one last thing we'll do before we close. If there's any hero that you wish you'd been able to get, who would it be? either because you had to pass on them for points, or because someone took them, or because they didn't show up on this list, and you really wanted them to go with your team, who would they be?
I really wanted Gladriel, like really.
I wanted Galadriel.
That would have made me feel so much better about having to deal with magic, just to have somebody who can sort of fight back. The other one that I am now regretting, I'm not regretting taking Helm. Helm is cool and the model is dope. But I had Malbeth at 4 on my draft board, and he was the one I was going to take. And there is a part of me that sort of wishes that I'd done that, because it's that 5+ save can really mess up heroic combats and other stuff, objective clearing and all that stuff. So he's the one that stands out for me.
Yeah, Malbeth this year was a hard one for me. As you guys know who follow the TMAT talks, Malbeth was my #1 pick for support. As I was kind of shaping through and thinking through the list, basically what it came down to for me, as I said, I want one Anvil unit, and I decided on Ingold over Malbeth. It's just where it came down to. If his 5+ save was for everyone and not just for Arnor guys, I mean, he would have been my first choice, and somebody else could have taken Gladriel if they wanted her. But because it wasn't, that's really where the math came down to for me. I guess for me, since I knew I was somewhere near the middle of the draft for the first round, I just basically didn't go in with expectations for certain people. So, like, I love Gandalf the Grey and Gandalf the White, for example, but I just assumed he'd be gone even by the 3rd pick. I just assumed Círdan would be gone. You just kind of get used to the idea of, they're going to disappear and that'll be fine. There is a side of me that wonders if maybe I should have gone back and picked Boromir within the 2nd round, but I don't know. Truthfully, I don't know he would have fit well with the synergy of what I was trying to do. So I guess in that sense, there wasn't a whole lot that as I looked back on it, I was like, it would have been nice to add that.
I'm sad that I didn't end up with Thranduil. I picked Boromir over Thranduil because I needed the banner, but Thranduil is one of the most ridiculous models in the game. He honestly shouldn't be the way he is, but he was there, and I had to pass him up.
MinutemanKirk?
Yeah, I think the only thing I would have done different would have been having Elrond instead of Celeborn, but I was pretty happy with what I came out with otherwise. When I was planning everything, I had a couple of different kind of paths that I was thinking of doing, and in the spirit of the support theme, I just knew I had to take Círdan first, and that kind of set the goal for, I guess I'm running elves then. So that's kind of where I went.
If you hadn't have taken Círdan, I would have taken him instead of Lindir.
Would anybody not have taken Círdan first?
No, well, me.
I was taking Isildur first if he was there.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was. That was my #1. I was like, that's the guy I'm getting.
I was
But
thinking.
again,
No
I have
question.
an irrational love for these ring bearers. I think they're sort of, out of the support things that people do, I sort of think that they tend to be over. I value them more than most people do, I've discovered. No. But that's me. That's my idiosyncrasy.
The one regret I have is that I didn't have enough points for Elendil. I really, really wanted him over Thorin. I knew if I committed to that, I was going to be getting 2 Hobbit heroes for picks 5 and 6. So given the choice between, getting Lotho and Lobelia or Dory and Oin, I said, nah, we'll go with the dwarves. But
Now, did you want him over Radagast?
no. No.
Okay.
No.
Doubling down. All right.
To each his own.
These 3 wizards are rude. They are rude. They are rude when you use them together. You have to play in a big enough points game, of course, but they're really good when they're all together. So, no regrets. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us then. Join us next time. We're going to be going into evil casters and other support people, stat replenishers, and special rules, and it should be a very exciting time. Thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to sharing our tales with you next time.
Ciao.